Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, and welcome to my channel. We are here to review Ready to Love, Season 5, Episode 8. X marks the spot as the contestants, the male contestants, have to introduce the women that they're interested in to their ex or one of their ex girlfriends or ex partners. So let's get into it. But first, of course, like this video, share it with others to join the conversation, and of course, subscribe to my channel. Let's go. All right. Tommy says, he introduces the idea and says that you are only as good as your last game. Well, that completely made things interesting. So it starts, hot and heavy, I guess, with Camille and Cornelius. They actually have it at Cornelius' home, which I felt was like an extra interesting dynamic, that the ex was in his home. Knowing how Camille is like very protective, she is very vocal and can tend to communicate aggressively. So she met first. Camille had to ask who the ex was, Tanika, who she was. Like, Cornelius did not say, "Hi, meet Tanika." Camille, he seemed so silent at the beginning of this situation. Very silent, very mute. The ladies were kind of running the show between the two of them. Camille presented this very interview-like reserved part of her, and I was inclined to like label it like church girl, like very had all the right answers, which is what the ex feedback was. She said she was really concerned about Camille's 3 engagements, but said she'd rather be 3 engagements versus 3 divorces. So she's just concerned about what's under Camille. I'm concerned about the lack of voice that Cornelius has, how he's not honoring himself in this relationship, not speaking up for himself, in having Camille respect this process. But also, it does seem, and I don't know what's making me say this, so I could be completely wrong, but I feel that Cornelius does not have confidence in his decision-making skills. I feel as though he either doubts that he's going to make the right decision or doesn't feel comfortable with the decision that he wants to make. And so he's looking for a way out, but doesn't know exactly what it is or what's going to be valid enough or make him feel secure enough in making the decision he needs to make, if that makes sense. So Shiloh and Phil and Tasia all come together to meet Phil's ex. She was really beautiful. She reminded me of Emile LaRue. So the seating arrangement of the table became a very hot and spicy situation as the ex is on one side, Phil is in the middle, and then Shiloh's on the other side. And Tasia was very put off by that as she was sitting next to Shiloh. She felt that Phil should have been in between. I feel that by that body language, as Phil communicated that Shiloh was his top choice, that he was trying to use his body as a way to protect his ex from Shiloh, who was more, I guess there was more, there's more cost in the game, right? If she says something or does something, that he can maybe try to put in, in some type of interference and to protect their connection, as he felt, not the same passion or concern as concerned with Tasia, which is something she picked upon. And so that made her kind of show up in this very, she was hurt, really was hurt by it. But it was showing up as as just very kind of harsh, rigid energy. And Phil was put off by it. She refused to ask some of the questions. He saw that she was just like, yeah, just very kind of disrupted by it, and rightfully so. You know, you don't want to be caught off guard in a situation like that. You want the person to pretty much be open and honest with you about where you stand. Like, Shiloh's number one, you're number two. You would want them to communicate that to you. And so for her to have this and experience this in this situation, I understand why she's upset and why she was caught off guard. Shiloh asked a great question about what are Phil's red flags. And I don't know if you've watched any of my past videos or reviews about Phil. My pet peeve about Phil is that I just don't know anything about him. He doesn't share much, and that's kind of what his ex said. She said he could do better in his communication, so I feel like she was kind of trying not to be as, you know, as hard on Phil because of the situation, but saying that he could be better in his communication, that he could also be better with expressing his feelings. And I agree. Because I don't know anything. I don't know anything. And so I think that's also why he does like Shiloh, because Shiloh is just, again, a much more open, warm, nurturing type of person. She's very free, and so she kind of, with being free, that kind of helps him feel comfortable to be free as well, and accepting. So that is pretty awesome. So we'll see what happens. I'm not saying that Phil can't be free, but he just isn't yet. Let's see. So that is that. Phil. Tashia did say that one of her red flags was that she can be a little calculated, and Phil did not like that word. That rubbed him the completely wrong way. He was not okay with that word. And I think what she's just saying is like, she's tactical. She moves with intention, and she thinks about what will be best for her. And sometimes that does put people on the edge, because that could put people in a situation where what does that mean exactly, and how does that show up? Sometimes people do that. I think we all do that to some degree, but if she's doing that in a place where it could potentially be harmful to him, you know, that's making him kind of be on alert. So next date is we're meeting Frank's ex, and Moomin and Sydney appear. Of course, Moomin is a little caught off guard with Sydney being there. Now, the women kind of act like they don't know that the ex is there, but both of them have interview questions on the ready. So I'm like, do they know or do they not know? Is this real? Is this not real? I don't know. Like, I don't know what's produced, what's not produced, but the fact that she had questions on the ready in her phone, especially Sydney, like we saw the questions, makes me think she knew the ex was going to be there. And so maybe Moomin didn't know, or Moomin didn't know Sydney was going to be there. You know, maybe that's the case, but they had to know, right? Okay. So the things that I saw that came up was that, you know, Moomin is ready pretty much for a family like now. She's like, if I know, I know, and I'm moving forward. I'm not taking my time. I'm not, you know, I want a family now in the next year or two. Sydney seems to be in a place where she's just kind of, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to pressure him. If it happens, I want a child, maybe 1 or 2, perhaps. Like, she's, family is something that's important to her, but it's not, necessarily like gotta happen right now. And so what I seem to like pick up with Sydney and Frank is that they seem to have, a true like, sexual connection, like a very sensual energy. They connect there more, and it's getting in the way of like having a real genuine connection, getting to know each other. So when Frank's ex asked the ladies, what do you like most about Frank? And Sydney said, what can I say? We just click. He's the opposite of me. Like, we just, and I'm not saying that's a wrong answer, but both of them seem to have very vague answers about each other, about what exactly they like. And And when you are making a relationship, a romantic relationship, about somebody that you want to be with and you're deciding to be in a relationship with, there should definitely be some logic in there about the connection, like X, Y, and Z. Like Moomin was able to say, like, I love his heart for people. And so that was like saying that she knows Frank, like she's getting to know who he is, and she's able to verbalize it. So that was something that I noticed between the two ladies. They are very different, which is what his ex pointed out. So we'll see. I'm not completely sold on the fact that really Frank is ready to be in a committed romantic relationship, but time will tell. So we'll see. All right. Walter, Sabrina, and Moomin. Ooh, boy. This was interesting. Very meets Walter's ex, who is like not what I was expecting. Just being honest, I was not expecting that. Walter seems so distinguished. That's how he presents. But this, the woman who's this ex, I can't remember her name, but she had like very long fingernails, and she had the bamboo earrings, and I'm all about that. But she had the bamboo earrings, so she was like very young and vivacious, and so I was just like, maybe this is, well, maybe he likes younger women, and that's that. So, Sabrina was caught off guard by this ex. She was not having it. So now the ex did ask her a very odd question. Are you crazy? Like she pretty much asked her, are you crazy? Do you have it's part of you crazy? And she said, I'm too classy and fabulous to be crazy. And I was like, oh boy, this isn't going well. And then I guess she was trying to tell her about Walter, and then Sabrina says that she didn't need anybody to tell her about him because she believes that Walter is going to be honest with her about who he is. And I said, oh boy. I don't know if the energy was just that Sabrina was giving off was very protective. It was very protective and annoyed. Like, I don't really like the fact that we're in this situation. Like, she was trying to communicate that, and she's like, and it was coming off as a little mean. Like, let's just be real. So then when Moomin comes, it's a wrap for Sabrina. She's like, I'm out. So she did not take that well. She left early. So I feel like maybe she just doesn't like surprises. Like, she feels like if she's in a situation like that, she wants Walter to communicate that to her. So that may be what's happening. But then once Sabrina leaves, the ex asks the question, and that makes me say, oh man, my dream can't come true, because she said, do you want children? And I said, Alicia, why did you not put that together, that Sabrina does not want children and that Walter does? It's not going to come. It's not going to come to pass. So, Moomin, of course, wants children, but she wants to save herself for marriage, for to have sex, and Walter is not about that life. So, this is going to be a challenge for him. It's going to be a challenge. The ex liked Moomin better, said she was a safer bet, and she was just nice, centered, which I agree. So we'll see what Walter decides. The ex said that Moomin isn't really going to save herself. We don't know that to be true or not, but that is her word that she's saying and using right now. So we'll see what happens. Next date, Naeem and Zadie. So we meet his ex. Her name was Victoria. And so she was asking a lot of interesting questions, and her energy was interesting. Okay, so let's go. So first she was asking her what Zadie's love language was, and she said quality time and physical touch. She's like, I really like to cuddle. She said, oh well, he don't cuddle, so you're gonna have to get over that. And he's like, I do cuddle. What you talking about? And then she replies, well, you didn't cuddle with me. She's like, oh, it's okay. I was like, oh boy. I think she still has some lingering feelings there. And even earlier in the date, she's asking about the size of Zadia's rear end, saying that, you know, she knows that he likes that, and like, I know what you like. So I seem to get that she may have still some lingering feelings for Naeem. And Zadia asked, you know, what could potentially be holding Naeem back from having a serious relationship. And she said that, you know, she feels like he's just very picky on what he likes, and it's going to have to kind of soften that, and also be more vulnerable, because she said he's guarded, which I understand. You know, for this show, Ready to Love, there's cameras and the like. So if you are, you know, conscientious about how you're being shown and presented to the world, then definitely you're going to be a little guarded. But it kind of makes sense. Even on the last date, when he met Zadia's friends, it was just very, again, surface kind of answers. And with him even kind of agreeing, well, like, hey, well, let's toast to me taking these walls down. Now, I am curious about if Zadia is going to be open to this guardedness, because she kind of presents with some protective energy herself at times, as we saw last week with the little heated moment with the girls in the ladies lounge, and then also with the date that we had with Dante, which we'll talk about soon. So I just seems, I'm curious about how that's all going to play out. And the ex was concerned about if Zadia would be able to be there for him emotionally. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what her capacity is in that area, but you know, that was a concern for her. All right. So we have. I'm sorry, I missed the date. So let's talk about Dante, Zadie, and Shiloh. So Zadie seems to have like a little bit of a competitive nature. I'm picking up just a little. She gave like this side hug to the ex that was a little, you know, it's a little awkward. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it just seemed awkward. She wasn't prepared for her to be there, so I no harm, no foul. But it was just, I'm curious about this, if she's competitive. And she was definitely caught off guard by Shiloh being there as well. The ex stated that, you know, Dante has grown a lot since their relationship, which is that's a huge statement, you know, for a ex to be mature enough to say that, and to be open, like, and even saying like, hey, if he wasn't an ex and we had met like in the now, yeah, I would even be open to dating him. So kudos to Dante for the growth. She did state that she saw that Zadia was fishing for the negative, and that Shiloh was asking more questions about you know, positive questions and positive information about Dante. And that makes sense for Zadia. I think she is again, she was in some really protective energy, and so it makes sense why she was maybe seeking, like, is there anything else I need to be looking out for? You just popped up, Shiloh here too. What is there anything else I need to know about him? You know, so it kind of makes it, I give her some grace in that area, you know, to say that. But we'll see. I don't know if I was meeting someone's ex and I'm dating them and considering them, would I ask questions about, like, hey, what are their red flags, or how do I know that I'm in a danger zone? Girl, watch out, you know, that question. And she said, you know, if he's not being affectionate, and then, you know, something's not right. So we'll see. We shall see. So we go to the gentleman's lounge. Sorry, I had my dates all out of order. So, oh, no, we don't. We're not at the gentleman's lounge yet. Sydney and Phil. So Sydney stated that she saw Phil at the pool party where she first came on the scene in the middle of the game, and he was not pressing her. And she said, "Now, why is that? I got my body." No, she was intrigued. So, so she asked him out on a date. What I noticed is that Sydney just does lead with her her physical or sexual energy and her emotions. So she was definitely like moving with her body and putting her body close to Phil's and all of that. That was a part of definitely their flirting game. And I noticed that with her and Cornelius a little bit too, but Cornelius was shut off because he had Camille watching him like a hawk. So Phil did ask her, what she's looking for, and she said someone, to be herself, that she could be herself with and compatible. She talked about getting married eventually, all those questions. But she did state, again, she was, a lot of her, how she was basing, like, if this was a great connection was about her feelings, and how she felt when she was with him. And she talked about feeling like the hearts around her and the emojis and stuff. And that's beautiful. You definitely want to have that. It's just, again, like, what about Phil specifically? Well, she did say that they both want to get married and have a family, but I think that's kind of like, okay, baseline, but like, what else? I guess it's just the nagging part of me that's still like, who is Phil? I don't know. But Gentleman's Lounge, Frank talks about him and Sydney's connection, how they're both mutually pressed on each other, and talks about how that says a lot. And I was like, really? To me it doesn't, but okay. And Moomin, how there's genuine feelings there, still kind of surface level information. I don't know, how much was edited out or not, but he seems to be in a torn space. Walter's definitely in a very torn space now that Sabrina's a little bit lower and Moomin's a little bit higher now, and feeling torn about that. Naeem talked about with Zadie about the information he received from his ex and kind of brushing it off. There's a part of me that feels like he's easier to brush it off because part of him knows that his ex still maybe have some feelings towards him. So he's like, she's just saying that because, she still want me or want to play or something like that. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. Tasia and Phil. Phil said that, she was a little nervous on the date, and that was something that kind of caught him off guard. And I believe that she was hurt. That's what I believe. And she was really trying not to show like her mean girl, coming out. But she was peeking out the shadows. Dante, he gave feedback about Zadie being flustered, and that Shiloh was just, calm, open, relaxed. He did also say that he has a budding connection with Aisha. I guess they just wanted to have Aisha's name mentioned on the show, because nobody met Aisha. Didn't meet anybody's ex. Nobody. So we'll see. Somehow Frank, she remembered that was a no. Phil, no, but there was no footage of like that being resolved. So I guess the whole not having kids thing for Phil, that's my guess of what happened there. Cornelius and Camille. So he gave his feedback about what his ex stated, and stated that the ex stated that she was concerned about the exes, the engagements, but gave her the grace that, hey, well, at least it's not 3 divorces versus three engagements. Then Nephew Tommy asked Cornelius, well, did Camille ask you any questions? And he said, yeah, she was asking, how long the ex is going to be in my house, and when is she going to leave, and when is she going to reach out to me, and are we going out, like, what's happening, was this the date, and he was like, I got you, like, reassuring her. And Tommy said, now, is this a sign? And Cornelius said, I guess so, yeah. Boy, oh boy. I don't know about Cornelius. I don't know. I just don't. I want him to, I really want him to assert himself. I do. But Camille's got him shook. And I don't know what's going to unshake him. But she's got him shook. So Sabrina and Cecilia are getting the elimination dates. What peeved me, upset me, pet peeve, was that both men, Phil and Frank, did not communicate directly with either of these women. It was a lot of roundabout talk, a lot of fluff. I know Frank said he was very flustered with Sabrina's energy. She was very upset and hurt that the men are pulling back from her and not being honest with her. It sounds like about why they're pulling back. They're just pulling back from her without giving her any feedback. So Phil stated that in the elimination that her not wanting children, and I think he said switch up. So I don't know if she did say she wanted children but didn't. I don't know. But the fact that she said she didn't want children, it was a no for him. I'm not confident that Phil communicated that to her, which could leave her feeling some type of way, right? Okay. Phil is communicating to Sia, you're dope, you are amazing, you're the realest person, right? You the realest, you the best, you the all these top shelf fluffy words to then say you're not ready to love. I don't believe that those two can't be real at the same time. It just feels like it is conflicting messaging, and so it's building her up for the letdown. So it's like, to Sia, I feel like you're an amazing person, and at the same time there were some concerns, and I have to be real with you about those concerns. So on our date, I did notice just some really protective energy. I feel like, or he said, what energy did he say? I'm calling it protective because I'm a therapist, but he said that she was just nervous energy, and then and then also that he said her demeanor can put people off, and so it really sounds like he's saying her demeanor put him off, but he doesn't want to own that. And so with him not owning that could leave anybody feeling some type of way, or feeling like you're not telling me the truth, or there's something you're not saying. And this is about people learning, dating, getting to know each other. It's about learning each other and learning where they need to grow. And so Tasia needs to know that sometimes, and she sounds like she said she actually does, she could be a little rigid and a little standoffish. And so letting her know that, hey, that kind of happened, and that's why we are saying you're not ready to love, instead of saying, you the realest. No, you the it's not fair. It's not fair to her. So I really wish that both men would have been honest with and direct. I wish that Frank would even disarm Sabrina with some vulnerability, hey man, I'm really, I feel for you because I know that you're upset, and I can't make the guys reach back out to you, and I know what it feels like to be reaching out to people and not get the same response back and be wondering what's happening, and it just seems really confusing. I'm gonna try to bring some clarity to that, and hopefully that helps. I know it doesn't take away the pain of what they've done, but it seems like maybe Frank doesn't have that language because he was, you know, he was flustered at Sabrina. She was coming with the heat. So we'll see what happens next week as they go on a retreat. And keep going from there. I feel like this season though, there's a lot of kind of holes in the story. Like even like this kind of random date with Sydney and Phil, and then Aisha kind of being in but out. I don't know. It's very strange, but we see that it's going to be a little spicy episode next week. So we'll see you then. Of course, if you have not subscribed to my channel, and I will see you next week. Peace.